Hello everyone, I'm NiiNiiFC, this is Bluelions TV, and welcome to another live stream. Of course, it's a chance for you guys to have any of your questions answered by me, and also I'm going to talk about the lineup for today's game against Slavia Prague, and just anything detailing, the game happening. It's good to see everyone here. But yeah, of course, the stream is brought to you by the One Football app. Thank you to everyone that helps me out all the time by downloading the app. It helps me out a lot. It makes a big difference, and obviously I really appreciate it. Honestly, I think that you do get a great app. A lot of people in the comment section are constantly praising the app, and it's the convenience, you guys. Real talk, honestly, it's just so convenient to get all the news, telling around the players or clubs of your choice. If you want to help me out, in the link in the description below will be a link to the One Football app. But yeah, you guys, I'm just waiting for everyone to come on. It seems like YouTube's running a bit slow. So I think all the chats are coming in pretty late. Bear with me, you guys. I think YouTube's just acting a bit slow right now. So it's taken me a while to see the chat coming up. It says 3 people watching. I know that's not the case. But yeah, actually, while we're waiting, let's go straight into the lineup, actually. And here, as you guys can see, let me get rid of this banner, actually. How do I get rid of that here? Cool. Yeah, as you guys can see, the lineup: Kepa and goal, Aspie right back, Rudiger and Christensen, Alonso, Barkley, Jorginho, Cover. So a bit of a surprise. I thought maybe Kante might play, but actually, from looking at the press conference, Sarri was kind of hinting that Kante might not be playing today. He does need to rest. Really injured and Pedro as well, and Hudson-Odoi isn't in the team. And that's interesting because that does give us an idea that he could be playing against Liverpool, which would be amazing. And I'm not going to lie, you guys, probably for this Europa League game, it's the least excited I've been, because normally for these games, that's when we get to see guys like Ruben and Hudson-Odoi playing. But now we're seeing guys who should be rightfully playing in this competition. Guys like Alonso, Barkley, Cover, in my opinion. But yeah, I think this lineup was to be expected. I don't really think it's too much of a surprise. And I think that we should be getting the job done regardless. And hopefully we're going to win this game. That momentum carries forwards to Sunday's game against Liverpool. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty optimistic about the game. Maybe Sarri. Yeah, Dan. Yeah, I think that Sarri has... I mean, people say he's turned a corner. I mean, has he? Maybe we haven't seen things in the right way. Sarri has known for a while now that, certain players just aren't ready for his style of football just yet. But instead of tinkering the team around them, he's just giving them the task of improving, getting used to the system and what Sarri expects of the player. And I think it's good because now guys like Ruben and Hudson-Odoi are much more complete players for that. I mean, imagine a Hudson-Odoi that's able to, press really hard, like you see Mane's and Salah's doing, and have that defensive ability on top of having, fantastic technical ability. Amazing. And Ruben, that's always been something that's kind of been lacking in his game a bit, but it's really improved a ton this season, and he's only going to be a better player for that. So it's not too bad. Jason Belgrave, hey Nini, good day. Sometimes you should invite Alex on this live. The last one I did, Alex, was on this. Super chat, thank you, Jay Scheller again, bro. Would you take Alex Grimaldo as your left back? Now, it's quite interesting, this left back situation now, because Emerson's stepping up a lot more. We've got Jay De Silva, now he's doing really well for Bristol City right now. He is the undisputed left back, and he's putting in some top quality performances. This guy's been rated for a very long time. And let's not forget that, with the England national team, that they invited, the youth players to train with the squads. A lot of Chelsea youngsters have done that, guys like Solanke and Mason Mount, and I think Jalaba and someone else as well, Mancian, back in the day. But yeah, the same thing happened for Jay De Silva. So everyone in the setup understands how much of a talent this guy is. I'm hoping that he does get an opportunity, but I get the impression that he might need one more loan move before he goes. I think the guy could do something. I get those Ryan Bertrand vibes, but for me, I feel that he's a much better player than Bertrand is. Of course, their game's completely different, but when I brought up Ryan Bertrand, I'm just thinking we could do with some of this guy's qualities in the team. look how when we got rid of Ryan Bertrand, we spent like 80 million in that position, and we still haven't found the perfect player for that role. Let's not forget, so we've got Emerson, who stepped up a lot more. I think that, let's not forget the stuff he was doing for Roma back in the day, doing some crazy things for Roma, playing a lot more regularly right now for us as well. He's looking really good. He's improving. Defensively, he's stepped up a tenfold. Offensively, he's always been very good. And imagine if Emerson can play for a full season, consistently for a full season. I think that this guy could actually develop and become a top quality player. So I've definitely been very happy to see how Emerson's been doing. But I don't know. I don't know if Alex Grimaldo would be needed in that case, because I do feel like we do have some decent players already. I think that Emerson's been playing so well recently that maybe he deserves a chance to get a full season under his belt. Alex Grimaldo's a top player. Of course, he is technically amazing going forward. I mean, he could really help us a lot there. But at the same time, I still think it's a case of diminishing returns. Is Grimaldo like 10 times better than Emerson? I don't think so. And I think that it's best that we just develop the guys we have and spend the money for key areas like, right wing, up front, in midfield. I don't know if we need a left back right now, in my opinion. But moving on to some more questions. NiiNii, give us your predictions for the Champions League winner this season and the Europa League. I feel like we're going to win the Europa League. I felt since the start of the season. So, I feel very confident about our chances in this tournament. And for the Champions League, I think it's going to be Barcelona. I mean, it's been a while now since they've won it. I think they're due to win it again sometime soon. And they're unplayable right now. So I think that maybe Barca and us, hopefully, we'll be seeing each other again in the Europa, in the Super Cup, in the summertime. But who else is there? Nulami, NiiNii, Dujon Sterling or Reece James? It's got to be Reece James. He's more complete right now. Optimus Prima, with Chelsea in the spotlight with regards to racist chanting, how should the club tackle this issue? Do you think we're doing enough? It is quite hard. I mean, I think it's a very difficult situation in the sense that what is the best course of action? I think with what the club do currently, stadium bans and obviously reporting straight to the police, I think that's what they're supposed to be doing. And Chelsea don't waste any time. They're not going to start defending a fan and garner negative press. This club is strictly anti-racism. All the money they invest in campaigns and charities, etc., etc. And look at the people that work for us on the board. We're an international club, so we don't stand for any of that. Yeah, it's been part of our history, which is a shame, but it doesn't mean that it's going to determine our future. And I just think that maybe the current methods right now, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, how can you prevent someone in the stadium saying something racist or doing something racist? You can't. You can't stop that from happening. Obviously, I don't like my answers I'm giving right now because normally I really think about things a lot more before I delve into it. So in the future, I'm definitely going to be doing a live stream on the matter. So, obviously I'm not really doing the topic justice right now because I'm not really making too many great points. But if you stay tuned for the future, we're definitely going to be tackling that subject and, obviously because it's important to talk about. Super chats again. Thank you, Jordan. Who would you sign to be Jorginho's understudy? That is a good question. There's a player we got in the club, obviously the young Scottish international, youth international. I forgot his name top of my head, but Jorginho's understudy. Someone young. He has to be young and can be modern in that role. I'm trying to remember the player that we've been looking at. I mean, I know Thiago Mai's been looked at. We looked at that Tonali guy from Serie B, from Brescia. He's another guy that's been looked at. I think that, to be honest, for me, I think Kovacic is that understudy to Jorginho. It makes a lot of sense why Sarri wants to keep the player, because think about it like this. It's so hard to find players that play that role to a T. Kova's already been playing in that role for a while. Sarri would like to continue his development in that role. I think it makes sense to keep Kova and sign him because he can play in so many different roles. And I think that if you think about the strengthening the squads, I think Kova is a good player for the squad. Anglo-Saxon Warrior, thank you. What's your overall opinion on Jorginho? I think that he's a great player. I think that I don't think that people have to enjoy him, though. I think that's not the argument that's made, which is unfortunate. The argument is that Jorginho is not good. The argument should be, I understand what he does, but I don't necessarily care for that style of football, which is fine because, in football, there's so many different types of players, different types of tactics and systems. You don't have to like everything. And I can understand why, Premier League fans wouldn't really appreciate a player like that. It's very Italian in its nature, very tactical in its nature. They don't really force the play in that sense. A lot of the good stuff they do is nuance, and you have to really study the game to understand what they're doing. And for a lot of people, people don't like to watch football like that. For a lot of people, you want to see, some energy, determination, grit in a performance. You want to see attacking football as well. And certain players like Jorginho might not just do it for certain people, which is completely understandable. The debate shouldn't be if he's not good enough, because the guy is world class at what he does. But if you don't like players that play that style of role, you find it boring, that's okay. Jay Scheller again, thank you, bro. Top 3 positions to strengthen for next season. For me, it's got to be the right wing. We've been needing someone in the right wing position for years now. Years. We need someone this summer up front. I do think that Higuain would come good, though. I think if this guy was to stay and get another pre-season, it would work. But I would like to sign a top striker like a Jovic. Higuain and Jovic would be amazing to have for next season when we're back in the Champions League, potentially as well. It makes a lot of sense. More tournaments to compete in. Higuain, Jovic, that would be a great front two to have, in my opinion. And another position, I guess it would be in midfield. I mean, I'd say right back, but with Reece James potentially coming back for next season, we don't have to worry there. But I'd like to see maybe another midfield player. Someone that can be the understudy in the number 8 position, or actually no, or back up to Kante, because we don't really have anyone right now that could fulfill a Kante role. And that's a position Sarri's wanted replacing. Not replacing, actually. I mean, he's wanted a player to be back up to Kante for time now. We were close when we came to signing Barella. But I think them 3 positions are more than good for next season then. Okay. Afro Higa, now that Pulisic is coming to the club, what do you think will happen to Callum Hudson-Odoi? I think he's going to play on the left-hand side when Eden goes. So I think that Callum's future is completely safe. It depends on him if he wants to stay here and play left wing for us, or go to Bayern Munich and play left wing for them. Tazeen Aziz, would you give Hudson-Odoi a 100,000 a week contract to convince him to stay? I want him to start in important games, but I believe it's too much for an 18-year-old. I mean, I understand, but, it's the nature of the business. I mean, if you're just any player playing for a top club like us, potentially playing a lot of minutes, then you deserve the money, in my opinion. Not every footballer earns 100,000 a week. Only the best of the best do. And I think that Hudson-Odoi is one of the very best youngsters in Europe right now. So if that's what the market's demanding, you've got to cough up the money, in my opinion. Okay, Anthony SB, Jovic, Neres, Guimaraes, and Rico Reis. That Bruno guy does seem like a very interesting prospect. I'll be watching a lot more of him, and obviously following a few accounts on Twitter as well. I can understand why we want to profile a player like that, because there's been a few, guys like Hamid Jore, Roniger, that Capozelli guy from, what's the team? Empoli as well was looked at. Bruno, I think Bruno could work here. I think that he looks very physical, which I like. He's got a bit of like a nasty streak in him too. We've missed that type of grit in this team for a while, and I like that type of stuff because it gives you edges, So I think Bruno would be a great player. Neres, I don't know about Neres for me. Yeah, he scored that banger against Real Madrid, but Ziyech is playing in front of him on the right hand side. Ziyech's a better player. For me, I prefer it to be Ziyech. And Jovic, I think he'd be a fantastic signing. I mean, this guy, what he's doing for his age, a left foot and a right foot, it seems like one of the, like a complete forward. And I think that type of style of striker is so rare, that can do everything up front. It makes a lot of sense to try and spend the money to sign Jovic. So I'm really hoping, actually, that those 3 players, maybe Bruno, Ziyech, and Jovic, are guys that are going to come in for next season. Sterny Vavi, opinion on Zaha, ideal front 3 next year. I would take Zaha. Listen, if both Willian and Pedro decide to go, then I feel like we need to sign 2 attacking players. For me, I think that Pulisic, listen, he's not going to be a first choice player for us for next season, but he'll be part of the squad. He'll be playing a lot of games. He'll be learning, but he's not going to be playing ahead of Hudson-Odoi. And if Willian and Pedro go, then yeah, we need to sign 2 players to replace them. Ziyech and maybe a Zaha. I like those types of players here because they can play in different roles, and I think that's such like a rare thing to have, like a player that can do so many things at the same time. So yeah, that could bang in my opinion. Okay, we got Shims and Nini. What about we give? Sorry, bro, I need to just read this first. Nini, what about we give right wing to Hudson-Odoi, striker to Pulisic, then do a Man United's on Real? That would be a killer. I don't think it works like that, bro. I think it'll be a lot. It'll be wasting everyone's time, but we'd be the ultimate losers because it's like, why would we waste our time doing something like that? I don't know. Hudson-Odoi for me, left wing. That should be his position for the future. Right wing, he can do a job there, but I don't want him to be there long term. Pulisic up front. I mean, when's this guy ever been a goal scorer? So I don't see what you do up front playing for us. Raul Cortez, thank you, bro. Any news on today's transfer appeal? I'm not hearing anything just yet. I have asked about it. I haven't heard anything right now at this moment in time. It's going to be one of them long ones that's going to be going on for hours and hours. So, by the time we hear anything, hopefully it might be tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, I've been trying to gauge, what's the likelihood that we're not going to get a window at least. And from what I'm hearing, people feel a bit optimistic behind the scenes. Now, I can't do a video on optimism because there's no context, there's no info for me to talk about. But from what I've heard, it seems like, people are a bit optimistic. So that should make us hopeful, if anything. Joel, what do you think of David Luiz in a Regista role? We got to think Regista role isn't like Paulo. It isn't Fabregas. It's not about spraying like 70-yard passes to the wingers out wide, or spraying like 70-yard through ball passes over the top. That's not the role. It's about managing possession, making very efficient use of possession. It's about kick-starting attacks, and the Regista basically just helps other players play better. For example, let's say you're Hazard, you've moved in field. You know that Jorginho is someone that's going to find you and play that pass. And sometimes, I don't know if you guys saw that video on Twitter. I think it came out like a few hours ago. Do you guys remember that guy called Zalazem? He was an Arsenal youth team player. Lots of hype surrounding the player. Big hype surrounding the player. Now he's in the MLS right now. I think he's playing for like Seattle Sounders or something. And someone posted a video on Twitter of the guy struggling playing for them. And the struggle was his teammates just couldn't find him with any single pass. The guy got in good possessions time and time again to receive the ball in a half turn and make something happen. You know what was happening instead? The centre-backs kept hitting it long. Other guys kept forcing the play. No one was playing through him. And obviously they became a weaker team for that. Now you got, take that same principle. If you're like an Eden Hazard or something like that, you're in a dangerous position. If you're not going to get the ball when you move there, at this level, playing for one of the best teams in the country, it's a very high level, it's not going to, it's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it at this level. So Jorginho's make guys like Hazard's lives much easier because, they're going to be fouled in good positions. Okay, dysfunction. You have to sign one Premier League player out of the top 6. Who would you sign? Keep in mind certain positions might need improvement. You have to sign one Premier League player out of the top 6. Oh, one player. I do like Zaha. I think Zaha is ready for a big move now. I definitely think he is. Vatsal, Christensen as Jorginho backup. Nah. The Regista role is about what you do with your passes. It's not about the ability to make a nice pass or to keep the ball. It's about what you're doing with it, how you're using it, how you circulate it, etc., etc. You know what I mean? So now, a lot of players just can't play the role. It's very tactical. It has to kind of be like your instincts to want to play that style of football. If it's not your instincts, then I don't feel like you're gonna really do that position justice. Nini, after the transfer is made. I told you guys we were signing this guy, but I couldn't make the video because I was ill. I don't know when that's ever happened. That's just like them stupid Twitter fallacies. So I don't even know why I read that, to be honest. Thank you, Jordan, for another super chat, bro. If you could take one player from every top 6 team to improve us, who would they be? Oh, that's a fun one. Okay, from United's, I would take Martial from United's. From Arsenal, oh, this is hard. Who would I take from Arsenal? Lacazette, but that is a hard one. I don't know who I'd take from Arsenal. Who's really standing out right now? Torreira? Yeah, I'd take Torreira as backup to Kante, 100%. I'd take Torreira. From Spurs, I'd take Son. I would take Son. I like Son, man. He's one of the good guys in football. You know, there's certain players that it's impossible to hate. Smacked it against Man City as well. That celebration, fully gassed. I'd take Son from Spurs. Who else? Man City. Oh, Bernardo Silva. I have to take that guy on the right hand side. And what's the last team? Liverpool. Oh, that's a hard one. Who would I take from Liverpool? Maybe I'll take Van Dijk. No, maybe Robertson. I'll take Robertson from Liverpool. That would be my team. Okay, other questions. Joanid, don't you think all the criticisms of Sarri's now irrelevant? You could say he is stubborn with his team selections, but since he has come, he has been rotating. But of course, PL teams don't get weaker for Europe. Yeah, of course. And I mean, even the fixture, like the congestion too, with the fixture list doesn't make any sense. It's crazy. I don't understand why we force so many teams in this country to have to play so many games in a short amount of time. It's not like this in Europe, and they played the same amount of games. So, you know what it's like with these, with these TV stations, though. Okay, Momo M. What do you think about Bruno Nini? He looks very impressive. What I've seen is a complete package, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that he's someone that can grow and get better. I think that's the type of player that Sarri loves because he helps improve and develop them. I mean, look what he did with Alan. Bruno, young, he could be potentially become part of the Brazil national team for a while. I think it makes a lot of sense. That would be a good signing. Ayush, what do you think of Sarri's recent comments on Kante Nini? I mean, it's the same thing I spoke about in the match preview last night, but you know, of course, Sarri's right. It's hard to explain the reducer role. It is. Even whenever I'm like reading out a question, like giving my opinions on Jorginho, honestly, for me to like really do it justice, I've got to do a video on it, and one day I might do that. But I mean, that's what I mean. For me, if your instinct isn't to play that style of game, then you're not ever going to do that role for like justice. And you know, Kante is a lot more than just one-touch passes. You know, he's a lot more than that. And I think that Sarri's completely right. I mean, Jorginho couldn't do anything close to what Kante does further forward. I think Kante could do something in Jorginho's role, but it's a complete waste of the player. Complete waste of him because you want him higher up, winning possession back. Look at those past 2 games against, obviously, West Ham and Cardiff. Look how Kante played and bossed it in midfield. This is why Sarri's always been right with how he's using him. Abdel, do you think Bakayoko could be good backup for Kante? You know what? I've been thinking about that for a while. And I do think that Bakayoko could be good backup. I think it make a lot of sense. I think that obviously, you know, playing in Serie A has improved him as a player, technically as well, and tactically. You know, with Bakayoko, my impression was that maybe he was moving too soon. I think he was a player that needed like a stepping stone club, like, you know, let's say like a Napoli or a Sevilla or something, before he stepped up to play for a big team. Because even though he's got some great attributes, he's not as complete for the position or the role. But it depends on Bakayoko. It depends on if we get a transfer ban. I can imagine that, you know, we would really re-strategize all our thoughts and plans and all our players out on the transfer, you know, out on loan. And I think if that's the case, then it makes a lot of sense that you're going to consider Bakayoko to come back and obviously be part of the squads. Daraga, Nini, if the transfer ban stays, can we loan players? I need to know this information. I think we can like loan out players and we can sell players. We can actually sign players too. It's just that we can't register them to play. So, for example, as we saw with like Barca and Atletico and Real Madrid, they signed all their players like a year before or like in the January window, and then, 6 months later they came. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do stuff like that, and that could be what we need. It could be, it could work in our favour in the long term. Granted, I would rather have had Boga come through than spend 60 million on Pulisic. 100% agree, man. Pulisic, again, there's a lot of benefits. I mean, he is young. I think that he can be molded. I think that with a guy like Asari, who's a manager, it's the type of manager that's going to improve Pulisic. If it was like a Conte or Mourinho, don't expect any improvement in the player. But, I looked at Boga, and for me, he was one of the best ever youth products I've seen. I remember the interviews too, when Ruben was talking about the academy. Back then, when it was like a new thing and, we were winning things and no one really knew anything about the academy. In interviews, it was like, who's one of the players that stands out? And on 2 separate ones, Ruben said, obviously our number 10, Boga. The guy was doing special things, and now he's playing with that confidence back at Sassuolo right now. I think maybe he needs one more season, one consistent top season, and I think that's all he needs. I've always believed in the guy's talent and ability. We've got a buyback option on him, so if he continues his form, there's a possibility that we might look into him. I think that, again, I'm going to go on a bit of a side note, but obviously let's look at what Ajax are doing right now. Now, for me, the reason why this Ajax team was so fantastic is because the team is fantastic. Yeah, they've got a lot of good individual players, but let's not make out that they're like some of the best in the world in their positions. They're not. They complement each other. They play well together. They understand each other's game perfectly. And, that type of stuff that's coached in the training sessions, that can be just as important as signing like a £100 million player. So, obviously just taking that concept I'm saying and just applying it to the previous point. I think that, yeah. Oh, shit, what was I going to say? I completely forgot, you guys. OBS got me. OBS got me, you guys. My bad. You know what? Today, I need to buy that Stream Deck. No excuses. I thought I was going to be a little bit smart and like just change up the background a bit. The minute I did that, I forgot what I was talking about. My bad, you guys. But Oli FC, actually, I'm not even going to answer your question, man, for the last one. Callum, what would be your top 5 transfer targets? Ooh, that's way too long, man. Adam Khan, should Giroud be first choice? Depends on the opposition. I still don't feel like we've got like a standout first choice striker right now. Depends on who we're playing. Okay, BO2, if we do start to bring through the youth, we will be the best team in the Premier League. We need to give them time. Yeah, 100%. I remember my point now. I was talking about Boga. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you potentially sign back Jeremy Boga, the benefit you get is he understands what it's like to play with Christensen, Hudson-Odoi, Ruben, etc. And I think that's just as valuable sometimes. I mean, you look at the Ajax team, a lot of these guys have been playing together for years now in the academy setup. We saw what Barcelona did under Pep as well, played for years and years. And it was no surprise that when they played under Pep, their understanding of each other's game was just so far advanced and elite. It makes sense, So I think that could be a benefit of re-signing Boga back to become part of the squad, because if he has to play a part or step up, you got the confidence knowing that he knows what he has to do, and he's played with these guys before. So yeah, I'm hoping that I see Boga back at the club one day. Afa, Nini, we are better than Arsenal. Of course, you didn't have to write that down, bro. We all know that. Orly, Masunda or Boga. Masunda, man. I feel for this guy. How unlucky is this guy? Injuries after injuries. It's just slowing everything down for him. It really is. The stuff he was doing for Real Betis in his first season, everything was going in his favour. I'm still a bit disappointed that Conte didn't use him as much, because whenever he used Masunda, I mean, he stepped up, goals or assists, barely gave him minutes for game time, and it was like, what's this guy doing wrong? But I think what he needs now is just experience of playing. That's what he needs. I think that if I was him, I would look to move on, find a club, permanent club somewhere, and focus on getting my fitness back and playing, because that's what he needs right now. I think that it's been too start and stop for him, and you know, stability would be good for his career right now. Some super chats, thank you. Jordan Boyle again. Who is the better player, Hazard or Neymar? Ooh, that is a very hard one. Hazard or Neymar? Who's a better player? Like, for me, it's going to be a bit of a cop-out, but I don't always like follow that type of metric when it comes to like comparing players. Because let's be serious, what's like the real difference between either player? For me, what I like to do is see things in tiers. So like, you have your tier ones, which is like your Messi, Ronaldo, your tier two, which is like, you know, your Hazards and your Neymars and, you know, your Mbappes, etc., etc. And like, yeah, each one of those players possesses something unique about their game that makes them stand out. But if you were to like evaluate the overall player, there's no real difference between an Mbappe, Hazards, Neymar, because they're at such a high level right now. So I know it's a cop-out answer, but I think they're both the same level, man, to be fair. Antonio, thank you, bro. Should we go after Bruno Fernandes? He can play in all three midfield positions. Exactly. Now, Bruno Fernandes is doing big things for Sporting Lisbon right now. Top player. But my thing is, if he was to play... I know he's playing on the left, so he could be that guy that's cutting in, who plays in the half space. He could be an option as a replacement for Eden Hazard. He definitely could be one. I think that he would stand out more playing as a number 8. That is interesting though, because the thing is, we have to remember a left winger that plays in a Sarri system ain't the same as how like Valverde is going to use his. You know, at Barcelona, Dembele is a guy that's like making runs in behind, stretching the play, using his pace. But with how Sarri uses his left winger, the left winger kind of has to have like playmaking abilities as well, because he has that license to roam where, you know, once like the number 8 moves in his position, the left back's high up the pitch, like stretching the play, he can move in field between the lines, find pockets and holes to create like numerical advantages. And like, if you see it along those lines, it opens up the position as potential replacements for Eden Hazard a lot more. And I definitely think, Antonio, you could be onto something with Bruno Fernandes. He is someone that does get goals and assists, and I think that for any player that needs to be considered as a replacement for Hazard, you have to be able to get double digits for goals and assists for me. That's the bare minimum, because, you know, you're replacing a big player. It's an interesting one, it definitely is, and I think that with how we play, Bruno Fernandes could actually work playing on the left-hand side with us. But at the same time, you know, with me saying that, we've got Hudson-Odoi, we've got Ruben. And for me personally, I would just preferably stick with developing these guys. I don't want to sign any roadblocks that's going to stop them. Just develop them, let them grow, and keep it at that. Saeed, thank you, bro. Hi, Nini. Do you see Tammy in the future? 100% I do. I think that with Tammy, his luck's going to depend on just how his career plans out. So, for example, if he gets another loan move, is it going to be at a bigger club? Or if he gets sold, because there's talks that RB Leipzig, who have been interested in this guy for a long time, are thinking of making a €30 million bid for him. If you're Tammy Abrahams, are you going to accept that and play regularly and then try and hopefully find a place for a bigger team in the future? Or are you going to come back, speak to Chelsea, and maybe come in as a backup player, hoping to get a few chances in, like, you know, Carabao Cup games, Europa League, you know, Champions League games, whatever. You know what I mean? It's a hard one. It really is. But I definitely believe that if we brought Tammy back, gave him a development plan where, okay, by the time you're 24, you're going to be this type of player, I think that he could surprise a lot of people, because I just look at the things he possesses. That drive, I think, I feel like he's one of those players that has like a mental advantage, and it's no surprise to me the way he scores the goals he does. He scores a lot of goals where you have to constantly be thinking about where you need to be, how to lose your man, you know, how to like deceive people by making runs, etc., etc. And his goals might not look as sexy, of course not, but there's a reason why this guy's constantly scoring inside the 18-yard box. I think that's a rare skill to have, especially in someone that's like only, 20, 21 years old. his overall game was actually not too bad. He can hold up the ball. You know, he closes people down. He presses hard, and I think that a guy with these types of attributes could work well alongside a team like us, because if we just create the chances for him, the guy is that good at finishing that he's going to bury at most times. So I would like to see Tammy coming back, getting an opportunity, maybe starting off as a second choice striker for now and then growing over time. I think the guy could really develop and actually, really improve as a player as the years go on. David Tellez, thank you, bro. Would you trade today's Eden for a past Legends? Oh, it's like, for example, would I swap Hazard for like a Drogba or something? Oh, that is a hard one. That is a really good one. Would I swap Hazard for one of our previous legends? Again, oh, it's hard because Hazard's on that same level. But this team could do with a Drogba. This team could do with a Lampard. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to stick with Hazard, even though our legends are amazing. I think it's just that Hazard's so unique. I think that if we sold this guy, he's the type of player that we're not gonna sign again for a while. You know what I mean? Like, we signed him at the right time, at the perfect timing. You know, if we signed him a season too late, every club in the world would be after him. We'd have no chance at all. But you know what? I'm gonna have to stick with Hazard for this team. This team needs Hazard more than anything. I don't think that if Drogba or Lampard came in this team, they're going to have that same effect that Hazard has. I don't think it's going to be the case. But you guys, I'm going to be here for 3 more minutes. Then I'm actually going to keep it moving. Okay, yeah. Hanif, Hazard is not a legend for Chelsea unless he wins a Champions League for us. Ooh. Still, I don't know. I think that's a tough metric, man. I think that Hazard is a legend, 100%. I mean, come on. We can't dismiss everything he's done in helping us win trophies and league titles. We can't dismiss that. NiiNii replaced Rory on the kickoff. He's an embarrassment for all Chelsea fans. You know what? We'd have to put someone down to push someone up. You know what I mean? Of course, I understand the sentiment. And of course, Rory hasn't been making a lot of sense recently. But if it happens, it happens, I'm not too fussed. Akoli, NiiNii, what is your ideal backup for Kante? I like the idea of Bruno, to be fair. I think in the market right now for his price, I think it could work. Toma Weiser, hey NiiNii, would you like us to sign Kova and Higuain? Personally, I would. I would sign those 2 players. I think that the advantage is they've worked in this system for like a season and for 6 months. I think these guys with a pre-season under their belt, being part of the squad where we have more games potentially, if we make it to the Champions League, I think that they could definitely play a part and they would strengthen the squads. Yeah, I would keep Higuain and I would keep Kova. Dillian Johnson and Arjen Robben in this prime would be better than Hazard's. Ooh, no. Ooh, but for me, the reason why I'm always going to rate Hazard more is because Hazard is like a 2-in-1 player. He's got the playmaking, and he's got the goal scoring. Robben, yeah, of course he can play a pass, make an assist, but his game is much more direct than Hazard. So, yeah, I think that's why Hazard helps his team out so much. Okay, Tala, Rafiq, Diggy or Tesco Lowski. How did it go on?